All right, folks, welcome to another day with Mr. Flores, the Art Classroom. We are making our coil pots. So let's go over the essential clay tools and figure out what these are, okay? So these right here are called ribbon tools or even loop tools. These are good for carving, for shaping, for smoothing out, and I'm gonna show you how this works in just a second. Our next one is our wired tool. Unfortunately, only I'm going to be using the wired tool because it is a little bit dangerous, but don't worry, you can see how it looks like when I do it. Then we have something called the potter's rib or the scraper. The scraper is good for smoothing out as well, or even cutting at the same time. You're not going to have a needle tool, but what you can use for a needle tool is in this box of tools that I'm going to give you, there are some sharp edges that you can use as well. These modeling tools are the same way. You can use them. It has really good like this spoon so you can smooth things out. It has little forks so you can make cool little designs on your clay pots as well. And then the last one, is, of course, is the sponge. And the sponge is going to be inside the water for right now. All right, so let's go ahead and start on our clay pots. What I went ahead and already done, made my base for my coil pot. And I told you the coil pots, the base needs to be about the thickness of a pancake, no bigger than a hamburger patty, all right? A cooked hamburger patty. And so I went ahead and gave you this stencil. And what you're gonna do is just press down ever so lightly. And if you press all the way down, what's gonna happen is that base is going to get stuck in here. And it's going to be hard to peel out, and it's not going to look very even. So go ahead and just press that, and then lift it back up, and then go ahead and use you can use the butter knife, or you can use one of these simple tools right here that has a nice edge. Cut around it, and then pop out your nice base. And if you think you need to smooth it out, just smooth it out with your hand. All right, and I love this clay. This clay is awesome. It really doesn't need that much water. It's just very pliable and very movable, and you can work with it. All right, so remember our coils, okay? So when I want you to notice something else. We are working on top of burlap. What happens is this helps it not stick to the table, and when we're working with clay, the clay won't stick to the burlap as much. Of course, there are some do nots. Do not slam the clay onto the burlap. Do not punch the clay, because then yes, it will stick eventually. So every time you're working with it, you want to just lift it if you ever put any pressure down. All right, for making our coils, you're going to lift this up and work on the bare table. All right, so the coil, you want it a little bit bigger than a pencil, about in between a Crayola marker and a pencil. All right, it's a perfect thickness. So maybe around the size of your finger. If it's too thick, then it's going to be a little bit, the walls are not going to look so well on your coil pot. All right, the next thing we're going to do is score it, okay? So you can use the butter knife, or you can use any one of these tools that have a sharp edge, okay? Or even use one of these too. But this one, doesn't have that much of a sharp edge. This wooden one or the butter knife is perfect. So what I'm gonna do is score it. Remember, when you score, you're just putting small scratches. You're not digging very deep. Do not put exactly an even amount, like ½ inch apart. No, you're just doing very small scratches. And remember what's happening, the reason why you do the scratches is it's connecting. When you're gonna do the scratches as well on the coil, and what's happening, remember, it's connecting just like a zipper or just like teeth, okay? If they are loose, they're going to fall off. So let's go ahead and score our coil. Right, the next thing that's important, so we have our tub of water right here. What you're gonna do next is get your finger and dip it into the water. And now we're going to add what's called the slip. Remember, the slip is just a muddy substance, and it's sort of like glue, making sure that the coil and the base stick together. Don't press too hard, or else those scoring that you did on there is not going to stick as well. So let's go ahead and add on our coil. Remember, you're putting it on top of the base, you're not putting it on the side of the base. Let me go ahead and zoom in. Perfect. Now, what do we do right here? All we have to do is just cut it, or you can pinch it off with your fingers. And we simply just pinch those together. There, now we have a perfect top going on. So what you're gonna do next is keep on building that up, all right? So we're gonna pinch it a little bit down, but I'm not going to smooth out the walls just yet, all right? So let's go ahead and score this one. And also, if you don't like the way it came out, all you have to do is just take that coil off and start all over again. And so you need to do this every time. I've seen some kids take a shortcut and not do the coiling. And what happens is think of it as these two smooth areas just connecting, nothing happens. And once it dries, it just falls off and needs to have the scoring in order to stick very well. I'm going to add my slip. That's very important. I'm going to connect that. Add my slip. Okay. If you have a piece that you feel that is not connecting very well, or it's maybe missing some, all you have to do is just get a piece off of your extra piece of clay and just smooth that in to fix that or complete that corner. All right, how do we get rid of, or how do we make this nice and smooth? So this is when our tools come in handy. So you see this nice wooden tool. It has this spoon at the edge of it. What you're gonna do is dip it one time into the water, and then you're going to hold on to the edge of the wall of your coil pot, and you're going to smooth it out. Keep on smoothing, but again, I'm holding it on the side to keep it from caving in. All right, as you can see, it's getting nice and smooth with me just putting that one time into the water. And I'm making my nice and smooth. All right, what about the inside? You don't want these little crevices on the inside going on. So again, you dip your wooden tool, your modeling tool into the water, and you're going to smooth out. I'm gonna hold the edge of the wall, and I'm going to smooth it out, all right? So get rid of that imperfections, get rid of that little line, that crease. That way there's no line going on, so it's nice and smooth. This could be a cup, this could be a bowl. It could even be just a pencil, like a cup to hold all your pencils and color pencils and paintbrushes and so forth. So let me show you the difference of what's going on. So this is me without smoothing it. You can see how it has that line, and this is me with smoothing it. So I got rid of that line. And I'm going to go up right here and hold on to the wall and make it nice and smooth and get rid of any of those lines and creases. See those little lines right there? I need to smooth them out and just get it with the spoon, okay? And smooth it really nice. If there happen to be too much excess water, what you're gonna do is get your sponge, you're going to clean it or squeeze it. So get all that water out. You're gonna get your sponge, and you can get and then soak up all of that excess water that's in there. And that's okay that it picked up some, some clay, and then just put it back into the water and you can clean that off. Squeeze it to get any water off, and you can get it nice. The sponge isn't really meant for a smoothing tool. It's meant for more of just getting the excess water off. So you can see this is nothing's going on when I do that. So that's when our handy dandy modeling tool comes and we can smooth it out. If you don't like using this, and just get the excess water, if you don't like using the modeling tool, you can also just use your finger. I've seen some people do a really awesome job just using their finger and just smoothing it out. But that's just totally up to you, just discovering what works for you and what doesn't. And you really want a nice smooth wall, so we can have a nice smooth wall going on our pots. All right, you can even use these for plants as well. All right, folks, can't wait to see how these all come out. You're going to make sort of a high, maybe about, so we have one layer, which is our base, then 1, 2, I would say 3, 4, maybe 4 to 5 coils to make a really nice pot. All right, folks, can't wait to see how these all come out. This is just the starting point. No one's going to finish today. The last day to work on these is on Wednesday.